Hello, Soph.
Hello, Abby.
Oh, that was a really beautiful conversation for me to witness as a parent and a woman in this modern day society who I often feel like I'm pulled in a lot of places. And today was all about anchoring and, the external tokens we have, the questions that we can ask ourselves, some very fun physical practices. Yeah, yeah.
One other thing I really loved is watching her. God, I love when she does that. She's so in her body. Katie is in her body, which I would like to be more and more, especially as most people at her age, less and less in their body. So I just, the way she showed us this practice, which whoever will watch the show, go listen to that. But she just showed us this practice that's just so anchoring and embodying, and it's really, really fun. But I like this episode a lot. Hello, my Katie.
Hello, Soph.
Before we go too far, I want to acknowledge that you look in a different environment. Tell us, where are you? What's going on?
I am out in my studio, which is a little a Balinese pavilion that we got many years ago. And it was occupied by my granddaughters for a while. And then when they left, I just didn't really give it much attention. And then just in the last few years, I thought, oh, I want to reclaim this space and use it for some different things. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to be able to do the podcast from here? And because when I'm in here, I just feel such a sense of harmony and ease. And I love the color and I love the wood. And so I made it happen this last week. And I even got my microphone and all my lights and everything. So, so we're launching today.
I love it. I love it. This is a really good moment too. And funny enough, I wanted to share with you that last week I was in a conversation with a client friend, and her language to herself was very unkind. She would say things like, well, of course, because I'm so dumb, so why would I blah, blah, blah. And every time she'd say it, it'd be like, oh, like there was a little
you
collapse.
could feel it like, oh, yeah.
It was very much like a collapse. And so we talked about it, but it reminded me of a conversation I had literally 30 years ago, maybe even more. My daughter wasn't even born, 33 years ago. And I was talking to a friend of mine, my friend Paul, and he noticed that I wasn't very kind to myself. And he started like almost like he would flag it. He would be like, what was that? What did you just say? And I would repeat it and it'd be like, oh, like it would kind of make me. And so he got up and he went to get me this thing from his self, and his name is Kind. We named him Kind, and he gifted it to me 33 years ago. So that's how long I've had him.
Oh, he's wonderful.
Right.
Oh.
And so what he said when he gave it to me was like, how could you not be kind to yourself or to anyone? When you see this, it's like, you just melt away. Like, I'm so damn cute. So I've had it on my shelf, like in front of me at all times. And so I wanted to speak to objects that anchor something good for us. And even I was asking you what's behind you at this moment, and which if you move your head, we see it a little bit. Exactly.
Yes, you can see this.
And so I wanted to talk about that, like objects that have this effect on us that we could surround ourselves with that can really help
us to shift, because the default position for most people is being critical. And, we've known that for a long time. Our 50,000 thoughts or so a day, most of them are critical that people have for themselves. And, so you and I have talked about different ways to shift that, we're taking responsibility for noticing and then shifting. But how wonderful to have, like a doll or a token or a picture or something that reminds you of beauty or kindness or loving yourself or shifting to appreciating. So I love that idea. And behind me, and I have different things that I'll show you at different points, but this one is a good luck charm. It's a Tibetan good luck charm, and it has chickens on it.
Of course, chickens. Why not have chickens?
One of my friends loves chickens. In fact, when she moved across the country, she took her chickens with her. And so
live chickens.
Live chickens, yes. And so I gained, it's just so much more of an appreciation of the companionship, the kindness of caring for, another creature. And so I think that's a part of how we can anchor ourselves. But I just love the idea of an object that reminds you to be kind to yourself. And so the one that you showed is just really, it's really,
Thank
I
you
mean,
very
it's
much.
really irresistible.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like, I mean, I've showed it a few times, even on screen sometimes, and everyone is always like, oh, it's like it makes your heart, just really melt. So anyway, kind is going to stay with us today. So funny enough that also you said that because there is a road runner, which is the national, whatever, or regional, whatever it's called, the state animal of Arizona, because
Oh,
they
I didn't know
I
that was the Roadrunner. Well, because of the cartoons from back then, the Roadrunner.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And so that was the only road runners I've ever known. And well, there's one. We think it's one. It's possible now they know, and so they kind of told each other if there's such a thing. But I've been feeding one of them. And so he comes, this is the pattern. He comes to the window and he does this really road runnery sound. Like he does this like very, very clear command. And I get up and I go get him this hamburger meat that he really likes because they're carnivores. I tried giving him a berry the other day and he looked at me like I had lost my mind. He was just like, no, like give me meat. So at first I was like, oh, that's kind of cute, but he's become mine. So it's funny that you speak to this like idea of like feeding. Of course, if you have an official dog or cat, you feed your cat, but something that came out of nowhere. It's been, I want to say a month. We named him Angus because he really likes beef. So of course his name is Angus. And he comes, and so here's a really funny thing. Yesterday, he comes to my one window where I'm in front of usually, and I wasn't there, but I saw him. I saw him from another window. So I kind of was like, what is he going to do? So he comes closer to the window, and he like looks around even more. And then he realizes I'm not there. Do you know that he went around and he found me at this other window that I was at and totally like stood there like, do you think you can get me exactly like that? Like with that face of like. And so it's interesting that you speak to like, because it has softened me up. It's like as I see him arrive, like he brought his baby the other day or she, I don't know
Oh,
if it's a he or she at this point, but he brought a little guy, like a little roadrunner, and it was
oh
almost
my
like
goodness.
he was showing him the ropes. He was just like, this is my favorite restaurant. Like, clearly like, so I wanted to talk about as far as object goes. I mean, obviously that's not an object, but how do we surround ourselves with things that match our intention? Because I've been wanting to be a little bit more connected to nature and a little bit more one with whatever outside. And so this little guy, every time he shows up, it's kind of a wow, like nature, like he's bonded with me. Like I just fed him, when he came, but he created this connection with me from nature, just from out of nowhere. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Oh, I love that. And my sense is what I'm noticing is a whole lot more of that kind of connection going on right now with other species and
Oh,
other species connecting, like, a dog and a turtle and
oh,
and a horse and a dog and, making friends.
uh-huh.
And what I'm noticing, like we have two cats, two street cats. I mean, these are not our cats that are indoor. We
Oh,
have
two
two
other
cats,
cats.
outdoor cats that visit us every day. One
Hmm.
of them he's a big black cat we call Biff from Back to the Future because he's a bit of a bully. And one time, Greta, one of our cats, got out the front door and chased him off, which was very exciting for her because she'd been wanting to get at him for a long time. He would
Wow.
come and kind of be at the back door and kind of go, nah, 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 I'm here and you can't come out and get
I'm
me.
free and you're
Yeah, I'm
trapped.
free and you're not. And so she got out there and she chased him off. So he's been much better behaved since then. And we have another one who is a gray cat and he has a bit of a limp. And we call him Sven. And so Sven comes and he lies on. We have chairs outside, And because he gets his hair all over them, we put now towels over them, and so now he sleeps on the chair arm of the chair that doesn't.
He doesn't want the towel. He wants.
You're not going to catch me with a towel. So it's
Yep.
very funny to just see the when he first came, I would come out and he'd run away. And now he recognizes our name for him. So I say, hi, Sven. And he looks over at me. And so it seems to me there are these opportunities for connection all the time. But if we're, focused on, what's not working and all of the problems, we don't really see these possibilities for connection, which the extending of your attention to someone else, that in itself, I think, creates kindness. It creates a sense of, oh, here we are together. And that sense of presence, rather than we're going and we're doing and we have all these things to handle. And, and when there's a lot more stress going on, I think people tend to forget the magic of connection and the magic of kindness, and just one word of kindness or even a look. And so when I'm out in the world, I do what I call presence, connect, play. That's really what I do all the time, is that, I presence myself and then I notice opportunities for connection. And there's one when I was just recalling, I've had a kind of appreciation project with this woman who works at our local grocery store. And I noticed that, she just looked like she just was not having a really good time. And so every time I would go in there, I would, find something to appreciate and, notice something and have a connection with her. And yesterday I went in and I had on a really colorful dress. And so I didn't even notice her at first. And she came up and connected with me.
Oh.
It was the first time she said, "Oh, I love that color that you're wearing.
Oh, wow.
That's just such a beautiful dress." And so then I looked at her and she was much pinker. She had put on lipstick, which what I'd never seen her lips. So there was this sense of her, being more comfortable in herself and appreciating herself more. And so then I had this little bit of, yes, it's working. The intention to spread kindness and connection in the world, it's working. So I felt very happy about that.
I love that. And you know how sometimes people say, oh, he likes his cats more than he likes people, or he likes his dog more than he likes his people, or whatever. And as you were talking, I was experiencing a little bit of sadness around how somehow we feel safe. Like it's easy for someone to be like, oh, how cute, because this little vulnerable, inanimated object, like there's no risk. Like there's very little risk with a cat or a dog, or it's like you feed them, they're happy, they return the love. And I'm wondering if maybe there's an opportunity, like the way you're describing with this lady at the store, like the connection, to not avoid it because we think that maybe this other person is not going to, like with a cat, it's like, it returns, not doesn't return, doesn't matter. But with a person, I think often people are afraid that they're going to not be received. Like maybe I reach out to connect with you and you're, as a person.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I'm wondering if we all somehow up-leveled a little bit of our trust that the other person is going to be there, then we would do, because that's what happened to the person at your store. Maybe at first she was a little more withdrawn, but because you did what you did, there was a safety that she knew she could do it with, like you were going to respond. Like,
right. She knew that I was available.
Yes.
And that and she had experienced that I was interested and curious and not ever judgmental or short or snappy or like, where are the peas? How come you don't have any peas today? Most people, when they approach you, I think most people expect they're going to get something critical, and usually it is. People complain or so, it's a great pattern interrupt also to have interactions that are really based in appreciation and that are based in noticing something, that's expansive. What was coming to me as you were talking about this is the whole attitude of being open to learning, of being open to curiosity. And my sense is that is the attitude that we can take that really makes the most difference as we move around in the world. It's so that rather than the what's wrong now goes with the critical mind, and what else do I have to take care of now? But it's like, what's working? What's beautiful, what's evolving, or just what's happening, just to have that curiosity. And that was my sense when you had your little fellow, that it disappears the what's wrong now, because you cannot look at that and go, what's wrong now?
Exactly.
So I'm just wondering, what could I have around me? I think that's a great question for all of us. What could I have around me that's a visual representation of that kind of attitude?
Yeah.
So, like in one of our in the office, we have a painting that somebody made from Gay's book, "Learning to Love Yourself," and it's all of these suggestions about loving yourself, about how you can think of something that you love and then give yourself that same love. And so, seeing that, even just seeing the painting, reminds me that my main job is to love myself. And so, I'm wondering.
I was going to come, like maybe it starts with an intention first, because like wanting to love yourself might be different than to be kind. It's a little bit different. Or I have another object I was going to introduce you to. His name is Ducky. For obvious reasons. It's a duck, for those of you who don't see the filming. It's a very big.
He's a big duck.
Yellow ducks. What do you call those? Like
Yeah, I think that's a yellow duck. There's probably another name for them, but I don't know what that is.
So it's a really big, like the little guys you put in your bathtub, but this one's a really big one. And so one day I was working on writing my bio, and I was sitting at my computer trying to write this bio that someone had asked me, and I was struggling a little bit. It was like, it's not easy to write of myself, and should I say more? Is it drag? Am I writing too much? Like it was a little tricky. And I thought to myself, who do I know that feels like they would be really good with writing a bio? And I actually thought of Abby, which is our producer, and I talk to her very regularly. And I reached out to Abby and I said, hey, I'm trying to write this bio and I feel stuck. So maybe launch me. Like, what do you think is interesting about me? Or when you heard about me the first time, what made you go, oh, who is this person? That would make what I was writing a little more interesting. And in like minutes, she gave me a couple of suggestions. And I went around and I finished by, writing this thing. Happens that there was the duck on my desk. And I came up with this concept of rubber ducking. So, a rubber duck. It's called a rubber duck.
Hello. A rubber duck, right.
There you go. A rubber duck.
It used to be rubber.
Exactly. And so what I did was I started noticing that every time I would feel stuck, I would look at my duck and I would be like, who do I know that could help me bounce from this and make it better? And so something else came up and I was stuck on something and my website wasn't doing what I wanted. And I know a friend who's very IT, whatever. I reached out 2 minutes, and he was able to launch me back into my focus. And so I'm actually wanting to write a book about this because I'm super interested in this idea. I gifted a rubber duck to Abby and to my other friend. Like every time it happens, now I've been gifting these rubber ducks, which now that I think of it, is a lot of plastic in the universe. But all right, well, let's not trash them.
But if they're rubber, that's different.
That's different than plastic.
Yes, rubber is like what tires are made from. That's not plastic. That's rubber.
Okay, great.
So it's an organic.
Oh, wonderful.
Substance,
all right. I'll make sure that when I give them, they're rubber. So now we have this little group of people that has a rubber duck, again, an object that when I feel stuck, it's sitting on my desk, and I can, instead of being lost in my own, stuckness, I'll look at the duck and I'll be like, ooh, and I've done it with you. And we didn't call it the rubber duck, but I remember years ago when I first met you, I was having a really hard day and I texted you and I said, hey, I'm not liking myself very much right now. Can you tell me a couple things you like about me? And God bless you, you sent me like a 15 element return by text immediately. I like you because of this and this and that and the other. It was like right at the fingertips. It was really so delicious. But it shifted me. It really immediately shifted me instead of, so I think what I want us to talk about, how do we identify, first of all, that we either are a little stuck or not as kind to ourselves? Like how do we, to start with, so maybe the object is that. Maybe the object becomes a reminder as a result of me saying that I want to not be stuck with my work, so now I have my duck. So I would love to, like, what do you do to, when you often call it like a pattern interrupt?
Yes.
How does one, what is it? Like, how does one do that?
Well, one of the things I would just start with is to assume that you're going to be critical, because
Ah,
that's what we're all trained
expected.
to do. So just assume that that's going to be your default position.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like to do is to create like a virtual cave, because when people are stuck, it's very often that it's just too much. I want to be more inside, but I don't want to be by myself. And so I've actually had people like, what's a texture that when you touch it, it feels, soft or welcoming. So blankies, I've had people like, is there a particular blanket or there's a particular color or a scarf
Mm-hmm.
that when you touch it, it doesn't have to be seeing it. It could be something that you feel, or something that you can go into. So I've had people create, to look through pictures
Mm-hmm.
of your life, for a picture where you're just in bliss, or you're delighted, or you're exploring, or you're playing. Like, I have one of me, I think I'm probably 5 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and my little brother is in one of those little trucks, little wagons, a little red
Uh-huh.
wagon,
Uh-huh.
and I'm pushing him, and I'm laughing, and he's laughing. And so when I look at that picture, even though when I think of my childhood, I don't think of that.
Yeah.
I think of the challenges, but when I look at that, I go, oh, I was
Look at
really
that
happy,
laughter. Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
I had enjoyed connect. So it can be from a range of sensations,
Mm-hmm.
or something that you smell.
Oh, yeah. Smell is
Yeah,
powerful.
like it's like cinnamon or vanilla or lemon or clove, something that when you smell it, there's this, and
Jasmine.
there's
Jasmine does that for me. The second I hear,
exactly. and
yes.
and what we're also pointing to is we don't receive a lot because we're afraid that what we're receiving is going to be more criticism, is going to be more what's wrong with you and how come you didn't do better. And so that, to me, that's the first thing that needs to happen, is that I need to get open to receiving.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so if smells go right into the brain. So if for me, cinnamon is,
Is it?
that's it. When I cinnamon, also, lemons, pretty, so a scent, I think, is very effective to make a kind of an instant change in your receptivity. So that's one of the things that I really like. But I also like to have people create a way that they can go into their cave, to
Mm.
create a way that they're not, in the middle of that struggle,
Uh-huh.
that they can go,
Like a
okay, I'm
retrieve, like a little retrieve almost.
yeah, a little retreat. And so it could be going under a blanket,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be looking at an entry in a book that you really enjoy. It was reminding yourself that you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't say, no, you should just get open to curiosity, because most of the time people are going to be scared, and especially now there's just so much going on that's challenging. So to be able to close down and then to be able to open up, and so it's kind of a form of peekaboo. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can just go away, and then I can peek out a little bit and see if it's safe, and then I can go back in again, so
Mm-hmm.
that I'm not pushing myself to be, just buck up and push forward. And I think that there are objects also. I was just thinking of that people have given to us. So,
Mm-hmm.
like when I was 12 or 13, my mother's best friend, that I called Aunt Win, gave me it was a little kind of envelope. It was made of satin, and
Okay.
it was raspberry and this cream satin. It was the most luxurious thing I'd ever gotten. It was for putting your lingerie in. And so it was a recognition of, oh, she's growing up.
I'm a lady.
And it
Mm-hmm.
was beautiful and wonderful to touch. So that was my rubber ducky for a long time. I
Mm-hmm.
kept it. I I kept it all of these decades, and I just recently gave it to someone, the daughter of a friend of mine, on her 13th birthday.
Oh, you passed it on. Oh,
I
that's
passed it
beautiful.
on, but something that when you touch it or look at it, but particularly touching it, reminds you that you're loved.
Mm. That's really, really beautiful. It's funny how when you started describing it, you said, when I feel this certain way, I know to interrupt. And I wonder, like, how did we, because I think I didn't for a long time know that I was even off my center. Like, I feel like as I
Right.
grew older, it's easier now for me to be like, oh, this doesn't feel good. Let's shift this. But before, it would take me days, weeks maybe to even fully. So what else could we, like, how do when you speak to the full body yes, I think is tied to this, like
Mhm.
the full body knows, like it feels tied to me. Like when I'm in a full body yes, I've shifted myself already.
Yeah.
And so how do we, what's a trigger, what's a something that could
Mm.
even help people to realize that they're not in a full body yes, so that they're not feeling in their heart as much?
Boy, that's such a great question. I'm wondering into that, and as I'm wondering, I'm realizing that I'm using my hands,
I
and
saw your body started like
yeah, I'm
waving.
kind of like, well, we could do this or we could do that. And there's a whole bunch of research about when we use our bodies more, particularly when we use our hands, that it's a very quick way to shift. And so, what I would play with is using one hand to like, no, I just really don't want to, and then and the other hand, well, maybe we could. No, I don't want to. Oh, well, maybe we could. Well, maybe we could just slow down. Oh, I don't know, and just
The
letting yourself.
conversations almost between your two hands.
Yes, a conversation between two hands of what's really going on. Like,
Mm.
you seem kind of down today. I am not. What are you talking about? So
I
that,
know.
that you're starting to, rather than having it all have to come from outside, like somebody else noticing, when you begin to do what we, call develop the witness,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
one who's really noticing what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of just like the witness doesn't have an opinion, it's just noticing.
Yeah.
But I've in my life, that's a skill I've developed, but I don't know of very many people who just have that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a practice that's just so valuable to recognize, hey, did you know that you just tripped there? Oh yeah, I forgot that. I was just thinking about, I wasn't paying any attention. Thank you. And you can start
Dialogue, like literal
dialogue,
dialogue.
because most of the dialogue is negative. Like, oh, there you go again. When are you ever going to learn?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have another one like that's noticing what's possible. It's your and for me, the quickest way to make the shift is with the
Mm-hmm. Tell
So
us
no
about that, because
matter,
we said it on the show, but let's say it again because I
but
think.
well, just as a refresher, because who knows when we said that,
Mm-hmm.
and I just used it again this morning. And something else I was talking about to people is that shifts you from your critical brain. And
Mm-hmm.
it does that reliably. And little kids, if they're experimenting with something, almost always they're wondering, and
Mm-hmm.
that is a wondering sound, and it interrupts the critical. So if you just install that, like what's going on? Oh, I don't know what's going on. Well, just returning to the literally interrupts. And
Mm-hmm.
so I really invite anybody who's listening to not believe me. I want you to try it out.
Mm-hmm.
To find yourself, just at any point where you have a pause and you can just and notice. So for me, when there's this openness and also an openness to receiving,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of us will not open to like what you were asking your friends for help. A lot of us won't do that
Yeah.
because we've been taught like you should be able to handle this yourself, you
Yes.
should be able to push through, just ignore that voice and just like the attitude we have toward fear,
Yeah.
just become
Yeah.
fearless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because still, I'm not sorry. I want to push a little more because
Please.
even what you just described calls for already a certain awareness that you in it. I mean, like even what you're calling the witness, which I've known for years that you meditate and you take the time to proactively create a little bit of a distance, not distance, but like an awareness of the what's
Yeah.
happening versus exactly. Even when sometimes you talk about this quality that you see in me where something is happening and I can actually be in the moment, but also comment and speak and, kind of be emotionally in touch with what's happening at the same
Yes, that's
time.
your witness.
That is my witness. And so I remember a deep conversation I had with Gay. I'm remembering actually when I was kind of in the beginning of all this. And I remember him describing, and don't quote me exactly, but I remember he described a deserving of happiness to begin with, or some sort of like, because if I'm in a state of not like not so happy, but I expect that life should not be so happy, I'm not going to do that much to try to get myself out of there.
Right.
I remember when I became aware in that conversation. I remember we were at the Ojai, that beautiful, the sanctuary, like the thing up there in the
The
mountain.
meditation mount.
Meditation mound that was so majestic and so perfect for like a shift of consciousness. But it was really about if you don't start from and I don't know that he used the word deserve, but there was something of like your natural state is to be happy and to be, in a wandering and in a curiosity. And so if you're not, then do something the way like I remember facilitating a workshop many years ago, and I said at the beginning something like, make yourselves comfortable, and everybody moved. And I remember thinking, why weren't you comfortable to begin with? Like,
Exactly.
it has something around that. Can you try to help me, like, speak to that? Because it has that
Yes.
quality of, like, it's okay to feel uncomfortable in my body. Like, who said that? Like, why?
Culture says that. So that's what I call endogenous world, cause from without. The culture says line up, sit still, to stop talking, you're
From
too
school,
loud,
from little, from being,
from very, very little. But
yeah.
you get that from everywhere. You get it from your parents, you get it from society, you get like, it's okay to fool around when you're, but then when you get old, you have to
Be serious.
be a certain way. And also it's based on, to me, it's based on this fundamental fallacy that it's based on what people call original sin. You're not good.
Ah,
So most, particularly Western religions are based on you're not good.
ah.
But if you do enough good things in your life, maybe after you're dead, you'll go to a better place.
Yeah,
But
that's
while
true.
you're here, and that's what
Assume the worst of you almost.
that's when, and yes, we're going to assume the worst, and you should assume the worst of you. Don't be too big-headed
Uh-huh.
because that's a sin. So that whole, and then we assign that to other people too. Other people are not as good as we are.
Mm.
And that whole dismissing of people, creates power over, and it creates a lot of what we're seeing happening in the world right now. Because not only do you not deserve things to go well, you don't even deserve to be here.
Yeah.
So that, and it's almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
If you know, if that's the only voice that you're listening to is the voice of the outer world.
Mm-hmm.
And so the biggest move is to give yourself a difference in your breath, a difference in something in your body. It's what I call creative joint play, because your body is patterned to respond, like to be in a tuck. Or, after my mother died, I realized that when I didn't hear her voice anymore, after a few months, I realized that I had formed a cringe.
Yeah, like almost funny because as you say that, your head.
There was a cringe response to, oh, what's coming at me now? And that I didn't have that anymore. And it opened up this sense of being able to receive, because I knew it wasn't going to be coming at me. So most of us have not found it safe to receive, like, oh, you're going to wear that? Or, oh, gosh, or my brother would say, for someone who's so smart, you sure are dumb. And, all of this stuff that, comes at us for whatever reason. so cultivating, sort of our own little inner rubber ducky that, you're, or I'm thinking of a small bird or or just a piece of cloth. My son had a quilt that he loved, and had a little satin edge on it, and so he would suck his thumb and
Touch the satin. Yeah.
touch the satin, and he kept that until it was just this little square.
Oh, wow.
And and I kept it for a long time, and I kept repairing it because that for him was a sense of, oh, everything is okay. And so that's what I had to have. Basically, you just need to interrupt what it is you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment that you realize, oh, I'm not liking this, just just even a simple shift, like breathe different.
Mm-hmm.
Let yourself go faster or slower, or go a different direction, or walk backwards, or or get down on the floor and crawl around a little bit. So you're, anytime you interrupt, and my experience is it takes a while for you to have that come more naturally. But if you gave yourself a little notice, like on one of our cards that we share with people in our trainings, it says, notice the drift and make the shift. Notice the drift and make the shift. And so I would have that little card, and I would have people put that on your mirror, just put it there. So it says, notice the drift and make the shift. So the moment you notice is an opportunity to go, oh, I noticed. And the more you notice, the more you're going to notice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a gradual waking up process.
That's exactly. It's funny because I was going to say, as we wrapping up, I was going to ask you, what would be your answer to the question, how does one change a belief? And it's funny because you already answered it somewhat. Like, if I believe that I'm not enough, that I'm not good enough, that I'm not, that I'm not lovable, and I truly believe that. I mean, I don't anymore. It's funny because as I said that, my body was like, well, that's not true.
That's not true.
Exactly, which is good because it used to believe that it was true.
Yeah.
But how can what can you share with us? Like, how do you change that thought? Because if you truly believe that you're not good enough, anything that says that you're good enough, you're going to be a little bit like, yeah, whatever, because you don't believe that you're that good, So
one of the things is the hands.
Yes.
So I'm not good enough. Are you sure about that? But all fear is based around contraction. So when you're not thinking you're not good enough, you're not lovable, there's a way in which you're closing yourself. And so any place in your body that you can open, like shoulders. So because most of us are either carrying or we're tucking. So just opening. And also we close around our belly. So just moving your belly and opening, but it could be very subtle. Just, having your arms just opening out and making a stretch.
To make a shift.
Yeah, that's a shift. So, but it would be from closed to open would be my recommendation. It could even be it's often in our faces. So if I'm closed, I'm definitely going to be close to my jaw. So I love, one of my favorite shifts is what I call face flapping. And I want to show it to you. Those of you who are watching, you can try it out. You bring your head forward and you go, and it's just wonderful for releasing.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
can you feel that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and it's really very, very fun. And most people, when they do it, they start giggling because it just you can't help it. And it also kind of eliminates all of the that inner chatter when you go. When you have that moment, even if it's just a moment where you feel you get more color, and
you did just get more color.
Exactly.
You guys go watch what just happened. This was really funny because you went down and your hair covered you up a little bit, and then you came out like even more. No,
you can do that repeatedly, and also you can share it with other people, because everybody accumulates tension in their face, during the day at work or, wherever. And so if someone, you notice, and someone noticing what you're doing,
we can all like,
Yeah, you can try it out with them. And I've found this to be just universally people, experience it and they go, oh, whoa, that's different.
That sounds great for kids. Like when your kid is feeling a little whatever, not as centered or joyful, just like flap your face. Just go
Yeah,
and
flap
flap
your
our faces
face, fella.
together. Thank you so much. It's funny because I entered, we talked about our rubber duckies and we were, as we always do, we went other places, but this was really a beautiful, thank you. This was very deep and very, I felt shifts. I felt shifts while you were talking. It was
Oh,
really,
good. I'm so glad. Yeah, because I mean, I think, that's really, we're going to be doing this, thousands of times. It's,
Mhm.
drifting and then shifting. And then what I notice is that the shifting happens much more easily,
Mhm.
quickly. I don't have that, talking to myself and arguing. It just
Do it.
flows
Mhm. Mhm.
just much more easily, which is what I'd like for everybody.
Great. Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank
Let's go
you.
next week. I love you.